Hello, everybody out there. This is the Essex and UFO Paranormal Group doing a special for you. And my guest, or our guest, we're kind of doing a double thing. I'm Dave's guest, and Dave Hobbs is my guest. So may I introduce Dave Hobbs to you? And I'm David Young.
Well,
So
hello.
hello, Dave.
Hello, David. How are you? Yes, I'm David Hobbs, and very pleased to be here speaking with you, David. What
Yeah,
was
I
your...
we were actually going to do a show on my Paranormal Dimension show, which I gave up about 2 months ago. Unfortunately, I was just sort of had enough of doing that. But we thought it was be a good idea to do this little chat for the group, really. And I guess for anyone else who's out there who's interested in the paranormal and UFOs and across Essex and everything.
Yeah.
And kind of tell everybody what the group's all about and some of the guests we've got coming and also a bit of your own history, which is very interesting from what you've told me over the little bits and pieces you've told me. I've got a little bit of history as well. It's not as interesting as yours, I don't think, but
Hmm. Is it legal?
most of it.
Well, we don't want to know about that. We want the interesting stuff. Yeah, okay. So, Essex UFO and Paranormal. Actually, it's been going for a long, long time under various names for years and years and years. But what happened was that during the lockdown, basically people seem to just stop meeting, stop going anywhere, and they kind of got out of the habit of doing that. And I just thought to myself, let's try and do something to get people out, get them together, get them talking. So I booked a hall and just said cheers, and just to see how it goes. Well, we started off. I think it was with about 135 members. We now have 1,200.
That's good, isn't
And
it?
yeah, so obviously there's a great deal of interest. Um, I'm not, we don't run it as purely a UFO and purely a paranormal group. We're quite eclectic. I've been saving that word for an interview, eclectic.
Yeah, you have to tell me what it means after.
Oh, I'll write it down and send you a messenger pigeon.
No, I'll look it up. Hang on, no, it's not.
The great thing about it, as far as I'm concerned, is that a lot of people have come along, they've met, they've chatted, they've become friends, and a lot of them are now doing their own thing, which I think,
Hmm.
for me, that was the object. That was the bottom line end of just purely to bring people together. And we do get speakers on all types of subjects, not always paranormal, not always UFO. I mean, for instance, on Friday, the 1st of November, we have Layla Green, and she is actually a ordained high priestess, and she is a witch. And
Right.
she
Now you put me on the spot here because I've got to get this video out before then now.
well, I don't mind that because that's work for you and none for me. So that's fair enough. That's the way I like it. But Layla's a very knowledgeable lady. She works very, very hard with her group. Um, so I'm really looking forward to it. And it's also going to be very different for anyone that comes along because, you know, being a witch, you don't have to be any particular religion, any particular class, any particular colour. A witch is a witch is a witch.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm quite interested in witchcraft and stuff like that. I know very little about it, but I know Jill's coming, my wife, on this one. I
Oh,
know quite often something happens and she can't come. We've got to look in after the
oh.
children or
I'll be
something. But
very careful that Jill doesn't learn too much, mate.
yeah,
You could be
well,
in trouble.
we I, we
She's going to
bought a
do a
we
full
bought
sailing. Sorry, David.
no. I was
She's
going to
got,
say we bought a witchcraft calendar, so we're all right there. We got
oh,
all the spells and all that on it. So
okay. Well, you'll know all about Samhain then.
yeah.
So that's what she'll be doing. She'll be doing a Samhain ceremony festival, call it what you like, but it will be done properly. And I think anyone that's a little bit nervous about, oh, do I really want to go to a witch thing?
Well.
It really isn't like that. It's friendly. People are nice, and anyone that's been along to our little club over the years, they would tell you what the atmosphere is like.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, like as you are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to bring a future guest with me, Indigo Phoenix, who's going to do a talk in March. She's not been very well lately, so I'm hoping she'll be well recovered enough to be able to come. But she does intend to come with me, so that'll be interesting. As she is actually a white witch as well,
Oh,
and she's a world class medium and everything. She does a lot of readings online. She travels around a lot, so hopefully people will be able to meet her as well on that night if she comes.
oh, that sounds good. Is she English?
She's of Egyptian extract.
Oh, okay. So Egyptian connection. Oh, that should be really interesting then.
She's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's Layla. Then, of course, after that, we have our Christmas get together. We always meet on the first Friday of every month, by the way, at Balmoral Centre in Westcliff on Sea. So yeah, we have a website that people can look at, and also we have a Facebook page. So yeah, there's plenty of information there for people to look at and to find out what goes on.
Yeah, we'll mention the Facebook page again in case anyone wants to find it as well a bit later as we go along. Um, okay, what about let's talk about some of the guests we're going to have coming next year. I've just mentioned
All right.
I've just mentioned well they're on the lineup obviously. I mean things can go wrong, but I mentioned Indigo Phoenix who's coming in March.
Yes.
Now, see, she's actually an international medium. She does lots of stuff all over the world. In actual fact, um, we have we got a guest for December? Because I mean, I kind of took over all the guest findings for next year.
Yeah.
Well, and we've got the list filled for that. But I think you've got a few guests coming. You've got one for December, January, and February.
Yeah. December, we've got a chap called Jamie Arthur Pickup.
Jamie Arthur Pickup.
Yeah.
I thought he was there for anyway. We won't go there.
Yeah. I don't know much about Jamie, to be honest, because
Oh, right.
my wife Sue's been arranging this one with him. So basically, I don't really know what the chap's going to talk about. I've got to be honest. But then again, I sometimes when the guests come to our place, I don't know what they're going to talk about. They're free to say whatever they like.
Yeah, I think there's been a few surprises along the line on a couple of occasions, hasn't there?
Yeah,
Where
we've got Andrew Collins coming in. I'm not sure what we've got in January actually.
yeah,
And February we have Andy Collins. Andrew, as you know, is a prolific author, prolific researcher. He comes from around our area too. I've known Andy for years and years. He's a great friend of the club, and he does some really far-reaching research. And yeah, he did actually start off. I think it was working for the Leeds Times many years ago, and he happened to get onto a UFO case, which
mm,
completely changed his life. And he also was the instigator of something called questing. I'm sure you're familiar with questing. But for those that aren't, questing is a method of following, how can I say, psychic input, certain leads that come into your life from various reasons, and you piece together all of those leads and follow them and basically just see where they take you. And if anybody wants to read one of Andy's books that really gives you a taste of where he started, The Black Alchemist, which no doubt you've got on your
yeah. So
shelf.
that's what I'm looking. Excuse me,
Yeah,
I was just looking on my shelf for. I've got quite a few of his books on my shelf here.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, I made the mistake of lending mine to someone, and I've never seen it since.
oh right, yeah. I mean, he's quite a prolific writer, isn't he, Andy? And
It's enormous.
he's often seen on Ancient Aliens as well, of all
He's on
things.
Ancient Aliens a lot now, is Andy? Yeah, and he's now also, I think, doing a different type of investigation on Stonehenge, where he's trying to expand all
That's the
of
one.
them.
The
That's the
Black
Black Alchemist, yeah.
the
Uh,
Black Alchemist.
yeah, that was one of the books that actually got me really interested in
That's another
paranormal
one of his Alien Energy.
alien energy. Yeah, very good book.
And Light Quest is just another one.
Brilliant. Yes, I've read
But
that.
there's quite a
Excellent.
few on my shelf up here, a few more. That's not his latest one. The latest one, I think, is the Female Pharaoh, isn't it? I think that's one of his latest ones.
I think that's one of them. He's working on one, I believe, to do with Stonehenge,
That's right.
where he
Yeah.
believes it's actually connected to the whole of the universe, you know, let alone just
Yeah.
sunrise, solstices, moonset, all that sort of a thing. So he's, you know, there's a lot of new stuff coming out about Stonehenge all of the time.
Mm.
And as you know, with Andy, he will always be at the forefront of everything.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. In April, we have somebody that you know, Ronald Kinsella.
Yep.
Now, you all know about Ronald Kinsella. So for
Ronnie,
you,
Ronnie Kinsella. Yeah. No, another a good friend of mine. Oh, I can't get his books right up there, but he's written several books, and they're mainly on the kind of science fictiony side. But
okay.
but Ronnie has had his own experiences with alien contact as well, with
Oh,
UFOs. So no doubt he'll be talking about that.
yeah.
Because his twin brother Philip Kinsella is also a prolific writer and medium. And they had an experience together, but they've also had separate experiences. They were in the newspapers a few years ago when they were like teenagers. Of course, they're sort of like in their 50s now, but they had quite an amazing experience with UFOs. So
What, together or separately?
together and separately, I believe.
And separately.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think Philip is going to be talking later in the year. I
Yeah.
think is the
Well, I got terribly confused at one stage because the name Kinsella and they look alike.
hmm.
And I was trying to do some research on them in order to put a write up on the page
And you
about
put the wrong one up.
them. And I picked the one up, as you will know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't
That's-
realise that they were twins.
Yeah, that's right. And if they do look, when you see them, I mean, I can tell the difference now. But when you see them together, you can see how similar they are. But I
Yeah,
can actually tell them apart separately now. So, although
yeah.
I did make a cock up once. I did say I went to his house, and as he opened the door, I said, "Hello, Ronnie," and it was Philip. He said, "No, it was Philip." But
I would imagine if you're identical twins, and they pretty
that's how
much
close they are. Yeah.
you get that all of the time. You must do. But the other great thing is that anything you get caught out on, you just point your thumb. No, it wasn't me.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was him. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. I
Brilliant.
can't reach his book. His book's right up there.
Uh,
But his latest one. But anyway, but no doubt Ronnie will probably bring a few books along to for people that might be interested in it.
yes, of course. You've met many people in your journey, haven't you? With the
I've been very fortunate. Yeah,
yeah, paranormal dimensions, wasn't it? Used to
it
do.
was. Yeah, with the
And
Paranormal UK Radio Network. Well, 212 shows are still out there,
oh, really?
and always will be. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they will. Yeah. So yeah, so that was how we started out. You know, going back to square one was purely to bring people together, and that's been achieved. I can sit back and take it easy now, can't I?
Yeah, you
Not-
can. No,
you know,
I want to ask you about some of the interesting things you've come across over the years. You've done quite a lot of investigations yourself, and I think
yeah,
people watching this would be interested to know the sort of really have you had some really scary things happen over your life?
scary. The only
Because I mean,
time,
we're coming up to Halloween, so we've got a bit of scary stuff, don't we?
oh, okay. Oh, that was a terrible thing that happened to me, Greg. I must tell you this all. Yeah, I don't really get scared in that sense, but early doors I did because I didn't come into this thing until I was about 40. Well, not about, I was 40 years of age. I had no interest in the paranormal whatsoever.
Which is
Sorry, I
weird,
had
isn't
no
it?
interested in spiritualism and things like that whatsoever. And basically, I was driving along to, I used to work down Petticoat Lane, you know, as a salesman. And I was on the way there, and an announcement came over the radio telling us that there was going to be a meeting at Healing Hands Church, Canvey Island, and everyone's invited. And I don't know why, I have no idea at all, but something in my head went, "You're going to go there?" Oh, okay. I went to work, I came home, and I mean, I've never spoken about it to my wife then, my late ex wife. And I said to her, I'm going to. Thinking of going to this Healing Hands. It's a spiritualist thing. Would you like to come? And she said, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to come." And I went, "Well, she's keen, you know. We'd never spoken about anything like that before." And yeah, so we went along to the Healing Hands Church. And you know, when you walk in somewhere, it's just right. You feel,
Mm.
oh, this is nice. It didn't feel like a church. I've got to be honest. It was actually in the Women's Institute Hall, but it had a lovely warm feeling to it, and it was full. It was packed with people, and they were very welcoming. And the thing I really liked when I walked in, there was a notice on the table, and it said "Expect a miracle," and I thought, oh, this is
Mhm.
interesting. Are we going to see miracles? Because I had no idea what they were going to do, you know.
Yeah.
And anyway, a lady came up as they do, and she started chat, Lord's Prayer, and then she introduced the medium, and the medium sort of is a lady medium, and she sort of looked around and pointed straight at me, and because I did the thing that everybody does, the only
Yeah.
thing, there was a wall behind me, so yes, yes, you. She said, "You're a healer, aren't you?" And I said, "Pardon?" She said, "You're a healer." I said, "I don't know what you mean." She said, "Are you new to this sort of a thing?" I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "Well, you are a healer." Okay, and I'm thinking, not a doctor, not this, not that. What's she talking about? Anyway, then she went on to give me what they call a message, blah, 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 which I can't remember a word of. And sort of left, at the end of the evening. And I said to my wife, I think they're a bit odd in there. I said, I think, shall we try another one next week? Go somewhere else. Yeah, okay. So anyway, did a bit of research and found one in Benfleet on Bread and Cheese Hill. I went in there, sat down. This was more like a church, and I felt churchy, but again, it felt warm and friendly. And she gave various messages to people. And then she came to me, you're a healer, aren't you? Everywhere I go is full of crazy people. And I said, no, I'm not a healer. Oh, yes, you are. She said, I can feel it from here. Feel what from me? I don't know. What's she talking about? Anyway, to cut a long story short, so I could go on with this saga forever, ended up going to about 4 or 5 different places. And the final place that I went to, or I say the final, it wasn't the final, was a place called Blue Waters. It was over in the, where the heck was it? Shoebury Way. Betty and Barry DeRose used to run it, who now I think have both passed on, sadly. Anyway, I knew nothing about the place. We just went there. Apparently, you could go anytime you like. And I walked in the door. And as I walked in the door, 2 women were carrying an old lady and very frail. She was crying in agony and pain. And they sort of laid her on this bench table thing. And as I walked in, Barry went, another healer. Quick, come here and help.
Well,
Oh, my God, what do I do? So I'm standing looking at him. He went, well, put your hands there then. Put your hands there. Okay. And as I did, I started bawling my eyes out. But the thing is, it wasn't me that was crying. The tears were pouring out of my eyes. But something, I know this will sound rather odd, and it did to me because obviously I knew nothing about what was going on really.
mm.
And I realized somebody was crying through me. What's all this about? So anyway, at the end of it, obviously the poor old lady, there wasn't a lot you could do for her. But she did seem to calm down, which is nice. And Barry explained to the ladies that, he'd hopefully given the lady a bit more comfort, but obviously she was going to pass. So, having had that experience, I decided to go back to Healing Hands, glutton for punishment. So I went back to Healing Hands, and the same thing. Medium gets up. Oh, I see you're a healer. By now, I was beginning to understand what a healer was. You see,
Mm.
obviously, I've been to a few
I mean,
churches.
I think what you can do, I think they can see your aura, can't they? Is it a certain color or something?
Mediums work in many different ways. Some see auras, some don't, some feel, and the words come with the feelings. Others have direct voice in their ear. Others see visions, pictures. Mediums work in many, excuse me, excuse me, in many different ways. And whatever gift, I say gift, whatever means they have. Um, Yeah, so mediums work in different ways. Anyway, I've lost the thread now. Where were
Sorry
I?
about that. My interruption. I'll keep quiet.
That's okay.
No, you were
Oh,
just saying about
that's
you went back to healing hands
yeah, yeah. So
and
anyway,
you had tears coming out of your eyes.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was in the previous place. So anyway, we're in the healing hands, usual thing. You're a healer, and by now I'm beginning to think, oh, perhaps I am. You know, the old
Mm.
ego's creeping in there. Perhaps I am a healer. I had visions of sort of people growing new arms and legs. I soon discovered that wasn't going to happen.
And making the
Anyway,
dead
she
walk.
said to me, why don't you stay behind? Sheila came up and said, look, you've been told enough times. Would you like to stay behind and watch the healing? So I said, well, yeah, it's a good opportunity. I've never seen this. You know, this should be interesting. So if you can visualize, the platform was like a stage with
Mm.
curtains around it. And they drew the curtains, played some soft music. People that wanted healing would be sitting in chairs in the hall, and those they would go up one at a time and have their healing. Anyway, they were when I sat down, they sat me in the middle of the platform, and to my right and to my left were two chairs. The people wanting to be healed sat in each chair, and one man and one woman healer would work on each person. So anyway, I'm sitting there looking and thinking, oh, you know, not overexciting, is it really? Because it's very calm.
Mm.
But the thing about it is, the healers who had been really chirpy and chatty and, you know, warm, all of a sudden, when they were doing this, completely different. They were in there. That's what they were there for. You know, this was their moment, this was their time, and this is what they did. And the atmosphere began to change. And all of a sudden, I got this thumping inside my head here, bang, bang, bang. Then my throat, bang, bang, and then my chest. And in the end, I'm being pummeled literally from inside. Everything's crashed. And the next thing I remember, or vaguely remember, is hitting the floor. I fell off the chair, crashed, and I could hear somebody saying, quick, quick, get him away from the healing, get him up the back of the hall. Anyway, they sort of got me back at the hall, and I remember holding a glass of cold water, which was nice because it was real. You know, I could feel
Mm.
this glass of cold water. I had a few sips and started to come round, which I've got to be honest, took a while. I've literally had the daylights knocked out of me. Anyway, the lady that ran the place, Sheila, she said, well, you better come back to our place for a cup of tea. Okay, I said, that'd be lovely because I wanted to know what the hell was going on. So we went back to Sheila's house and her husband David, and we were sitting having a cup of
Not
tea.
another David. Wow.
Another David, who else was David? And anyway, so in the end, I said to her, well, look, what was that? What happened there? I don't know what happened. And she said, okay, imagine this. I'm not saying this is my point of view. I'm saying this is what Sheila said. She said, imagine you're sitting there and you have a healing guide right behind you, and you do because everybody's told you that you're a healer. She said, I've been hearing stories from other places as well because they're quite small community. Oh, yeah. And she said, well, that healing guide, all he wants to do is heal. He wants to join in with the healing. So he's trying to get into your body so that he can then heal through you.
Mm.
See? And I thought, oh, okay, I don't know whether that's true or not. So she said, what do you think about it? I said, I'll do that. I will think about it, you know, because I still wasn't too sure. So to carry on with that, then I was, I'd finished working in Petticoat Lane and I started working for myself at Witham Market. I was a demonstrator, a grafter, so called, you know. I was the man that stood there and showed you a tool and implement, gave a lot of words, clap my hands, you know, first six of you with your hands in the air, don't be number seven, don't be left out, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the thing is, I had real problems with my knees in those days because I'd played quite a bit of rugby and that bangs your knees around a lot. And also I've been cab driving for quite a lot of years, spare time, of course. And basically, if I sat into it in a vehicle going anywhere, for more than literally 4 or 5 minutes, I would be in agony, a real agony, you know. So anyway, I'm driving down the A12 and on my way to Witham Market from Canvey Island. I'm in agony. And all of a sudden, I just shouted out. I won't use my exact words because some of them were very
You
very.
can. We're not censored here.
I mean, if you want to bloody well me to be a healer, you bloody well me then. And as I said it, this energy came through my body, from the top of my head, all the way through my body. I literally felt it real. Never had a moment's problem with my knees after that.
Wow.
And I thought, a bargain's a bargain. Okay, I'll start healing. So that's a little intro of how I sort of got involved. Well, with spiritualism, basically.
That's pretty amazing.
Do you know the strange thing is? I don't know if I'm odd. It
Oh,
didn't.
you're definitely old.
Oh, okay, fair enough. It just didn't seem, mate. It's only when I look back now, I think that was amazing. But I guess I was just open to anything then. You know, I didn't have any preconceived ideas about anything. Well, we all have preconceived ideas, but not in as far as religion or that sort of thing was concerned. So anyway, I started doing the healing, which was quite interesting. And I must be honest, it does bring a lot of people a lot of comfort. I think a lot of the people that go there, I say, well, yeah, quite a few of them actually, it's probably the only human contact they get in a week, you know? So to be that close to somebody with a healing, that alone is a healing process for them. And of course, you do sometimes make people feel better, which is excellent.
Yeah.
You meet all sorts of people when you're doing it, and I have to say that I'll cut across quickly. This was at the time when they were bringing in healing. You had to have a certificate. They started. I'm not a certificate person. Yeah, I don't like paperwork certificates. If you're a healer, you're a healer. If you're a witch, you're a witch. If you're an ordinary guy, you're an ordinary guy. If you like football, that's me. But anyway, I still thought, oh, well, that'll be handy to get. But I never did get it because something else came along, which maybe we can get onto because the story begins to split in several different ways. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, this will sound absolutely great. In the meantime, people had asked me to join a circle. I thought, oh, a circle. I've heard about these. This will be good, you know. Should be. I didn't have a clue what was going to happen, of course, but yeah, join the circle. Well, on the second visit to the circle, I was doing trance mediumship.
Wow.
Not knowing what trance mediumship was, but and they said that I was like swing doors. They were coming through me so quickly. They just seemed perfectly normal to me. And it was quite astounding because you don't realise until you've done it. But you know what the guide or whoever it came through, he might go question, and they go, oh, question, ask a question, and they would ask a question, and he would say something, and this is God's truth, something along the lines of, you see your bookshelf, second shelf down, fifth book along, page 77, have a look there. What? Okay. And that would be the answer to the question. I mean, that's just a little example, a tiny example. We had things just to spice it up a bit. Yeah, I mean, I always I started a method of opening it where we would what's called calling in the quarters. Now, that isn't a spiritualist thing, but as I said to you just now, I also got involved in other things that were crossing over all the time. Magic, basically, not to put too fine a point on it. And the ladies would open to the quarters and light the 4 candles, and then we'd light the 5th one, which represented spirit. Obviously, all the lights were out. We just had candle out. There's probably 6 of us in the room, 7, 8 sometimes. And I always remember one occasion we started to meditate, you know, because you can feel the energy in the room building. Well, we did. And as we started meditating, boom, all the candles went out. So we're in pitch dark, absolutely couldn't see a hand in front of your face. And we did whatever we did, you know, guides talking to each other through us, asking questions, usual sort of thing. And okay, this went on for maybe 20, 25 minutes. And at the end of the 25 minutes, it was okay. All right, everybody come back now. And as we did, boom, all the candles relit again.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, we didn't see anything unusual to
That's
that.
crazy.
Well, by then we were doing stuff 5 and 6 nights a week. So this sort of thing was going on all the time, you know. And the more you do, the more happens. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if the world changes for you or you change the world. It's got to be one of the two. So yeah, the group then expanded. It lasted quite a lot of years, and we did have some really interesting stuff going on, to say the least.
So let me ask you a question, Dave.
Yeah.
You had actually no idea that you were a medium at that time, huh?
No, not a clue.
So when this person invited you to join the circle, did they have an inkling that you might be a medium, do you think?
Well, they were mediums and they could see through me, you see. They knew that I was a medium. May I tell you something now? A prophecy, a prophetic thing. Okay, let's try and get this in. So, the first time that the people invited me to join the group, they asked me to go back to their house for a cup of tea. This again was after the Sunday evening meeting. Sue, my wife, sitting over there, probably thinking, I've heard these stories before. Anyway, so yeah, nice. Always nice to meet new friends, new people, you know. And I went back to the house, and there were probably 6 or 7 people there. And it turned out that each one of them was a medium, platform medium. This, you know, they were all quite accomplished in the mediumship field. Anyway, they're all chatting away about. They didn't used to mention names, but I gave a message to a lady the other day, and blah, 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 it turned out perfectly right. Oh yeah, you know, and they're all chatting away like this, and I'm thinking, wow, this is clever stuff, isn't it? This is brilliant. So I said, God, I could never do anything like that. Worst thing I could have said. Everybody stopped and turned and looked at me, and I thought, this is uncomfortable. And this woman said to me, this lady medium, yes, you can. I said, what are you talking about? I don't know how to, or anything like that. So Ian, oh yeah, okay, I can mention his name. Ian, who was eventually going to be my circle leader, he went, well, just something. He said, first thing that comes into your head. Well, as he said it, that whole room faded and became brilliant light. And I was in the light. I don't think they could see the light, but I was in this pure white, brilliant light. And suddenly I could see the American flag waving. And then the words came, which I spoke, not as me, but as whatever it was speaking through me. I see the American flag, and there are less stars upon it. America is weakening. I'm now over this land. Now, by now, I'm literally looking down on this country. And the land is divided, not north from south, but east from west, and surrounded by oil. I don't quite know the oil bit. And then I saw a light approaching from the south, and it was the words were, I see a light approaching from the south and another from the north. And when they meet over this land, there will be a new golden age. And as they said it, this huge amount of golden light just came flowing down all over the land. It's quite strange to be flying over your country and seeing what's happening. So for what it's worth, that was a kind of a vision. There's a difference between mediumship and visions. Visions are total. Visions you have no control over. Visions are a complete and absolutely complete thing. And I mean, the only thing I can remember going back in life talking about the light, when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I do remember a dream I had. And it's strange. You know those dreams that you have that are with you forever?
Yeah, we
and
have a
the
few of
rest of
those.
them go, but you have one or two with you forever. And I always remember it. I was walking through a garden with a very tall, what I now know was a Chinaman. Then I didn't know what a Chinaman was or what China was. And he was made of light, and I was made of light, and the garden was made of light. Everything was light, but the flowers and the bushes and whatever, they were brighter light. So you could actually, you were lighter than the light, you see.
Mm, mm.
So I guess maybe, because you asked me the question earlier, did I know or was I involved? Maybe that was when I was a kid. Maybe I wasn't and didn't even realise it. I don't know. Yeah, if you ask me what I know, the answer is very simple: nothing. um, so yeah, so that was it. Maybe you'd like to ask something now because I'm waffling on a bit here.
No, you've not been waffling. It's very interesting, Dave. Um, I mean, I did ask how you got into it and everything, but I mean, I did ask at the beginning, did after all those medium, joining the circle and everything, did anything, well, I did ask you if anything scary happened. I mean, we do hear about tables lifting and cupboards lifting and stuff like that. Have you ever experienced that?
No, we weren't interested in that. You see, what used to happen was when I actually was running this circle in the end, but I didn't work on what I wanted. I used to sit and ask for input.
Hmm.
And what I would do is I would ask one of the ladies or someone in the room, but because we were all totally in tune with each other, we even knew what each other were thinking, literally.
Hmm.
And I'd say to one of them, would you mind going in the kitchen, closing the door? Yeah, okay, and off they'd go. We would then quickly meditate and see what was about and what input we were getting. We might get an Indian turn up and show anything, all these things happening in circle. And we would be given an indication as to what we were going to be working with that night. So we didn't decide; it was decided by the universe, if you like. We'd then call whoever was in the kitchen back into the room and say, "Okay, what did you get?" And she would then tell us exactly the same thing that we've been told by the guide. So we knew, yeah, okay, that's correct. We'll carry on with that and do whatever that may be. I mean, I could sit and talk for an hour just about things that happen in circle, which
Hmm.
are, well, in our circle, they certainly did anyway. And you know, the reason I've realised years later, uh, I think the reason it worked is because we didn't know anything. Any information that came in, like one evening we were all sitting there, and we all used to see the same thing together, by the way.
Hmm.
And we were sitting there, and all of these Egyptian looking things were there. I say Egyptian, I didn't even know. And somebody said, oh, look, there's a human with a dog's head there. I used to have to go to the library in Southend and look these things up and go, oh, Anubis, look at that. There is a
Hmm.
thing. It was like that. We knew so little, really, that we were finding out. But as I say, I think that was a good thing because we weren't clouded with preconceptions.
Hmm.
We weren't sort of following in other people's ways of doing things. It was just purely input from, if you like, from the one. I call it the one, and working with that,
Hmm.
which was very, very, very rewarding,
Hmm.
really.
Hmm.
Um, I still look back on it now and think, yeah, a lot of that was incredible. That was truly incredible. Um, but there were more incredible things than that happened later on, which
Oh, I
maybe,
know, and I'm sure we can do a few shows like
maybe
or
we could get.
shows or chats, whatever you want to call it, like that. When you for your healing, do you find your hands get really hot?
No, a lot of people's do. A lot of people's hands do get hot, and some actually get icy cold.
Hmm.
Um, but no, not really. Um, when I first started healing, it used to exhaust me. And anyway, another bit of the story, I went to the Healing Hands. We used to do healing during the daytime on, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday, lunchtime. People would come along, cup of tea, chat, and healing. And I went there one day and sat down, and over in the corner, sitting on her own, was an elderly lady. And she had a presence about her. And I noticed that nobody was actually speaking to her. but they were very aware that she was there.
Mm.
It was that sort of a thing. And the Sheila, the lady that ran the centre, came over to me. She said, "Oh, there's someone to see you." Oh, okay. Thought, oh, somebody wants some healing, you know. Who's that then? The lady over there sitting in the corner. Oh, she said, you need to go and speak to her. I went over and I said, "Oh, hello, my name's Dave." She said, "Yes, I know who you are." She was a bit curt lady, you know. And I said, "Oh, are you here for healing?" No, she said, I am a healer. I thought, this is strange. So I said, "Well, what can I do for you?" Well, she said, "I'm a healer." She said, "But I'm getting a bit old and I need someone to help me out with the energy." She said, "I can direct it, but I need more energy." What do I know? Do you think you'd like to come along and help out for a little while? It turned out later that this lady, if she were alive today, she would probably be known as a cunning woman, a witch, whatever way you want
Mm.
to look at it. She was not a lady to be messed with, that's for sure, but a lovely lady nonetheless, extremely spiritual. Anyway, I went along to hers, and this might help anybody that's listening to this. I went along to hers and helped with the healing, which was quite very interesting. You know, I could literally feel the power then. It was beginning to build in me more and more. And on about the third visit, I said, "Oh, I can't tell you this." I said, "When I go home from here, I'm exhausted." "Oh, you stupid boy," she said, 40 years old, stupid boy. She said, "The problem with you is you think the healing's coming from you, don't you?" I said, "Well, yeah." She said, "It's not coming from you. That's when you make it. It's coming through you." She said, "Just allow it through you, not from you." I know that sounds kind of weird because you have to understand your body and feel energies. I can feel energies in my body, you know. And she was absolutely right. Once I accepted that the healing was coming from the universe, and I didn't have to do anything, just be there and maybe aim my hands. But I didn't used to like touching people. I used to be a little bit on the
Yeah,
heel
you're
and
kind
through
of
there.
just over the top, isn't it? Yeah, it's just sort of.
Yeah, through.
So really, you're like a conduit. Like, is that what you're saying?
Well, that's the way it works for me. I mean, I would have no doubt at all that other healers work in different ways, many ways, but that was just the way it was with me. You just stand there and the universe works exactly the same way as in the circles that I mentioned. Weren't my ideas. The input would come from the outside, from
Mm.
the bigger consciousness, if you like, the one. And yeah, so after that, that was okay. The healing didn't exhaust me anymore after that. Anyway, I didn't stay with Lily that long, probably a couple of months. And then I sort of moved on from there again. I seem to have moved on and moved on and moved on. So by now, I'm doing the healing, I'm in circles. And then along comes a man called Jeff Hughes. I'm sitting in healing hands again. Oh, hang on. Let me tell you this story. Oh, sorry, I
Oh,
just kicked the screen. Am I saying? Am I talking too much here?
no, go on, carry on. You're fine.
Okay.
I'm speaking.
Okay.
I'm speaking to everyone that's watching this. I hope it's not too much for you, but I'm finding it fascinating. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't know that I want to move on to that just yet, to be honest.
no,
Because it's yeah, okay.
we can do another one of these one day, can't we? Maybe we shouldn't make this too long because people won't want to be sitting listening to us gassing for a couple of hours. But maybe we can do another one at some
Yeah.
point. But I find it interesting
I
what
think
you talked about all this evening because
yeah.
a couple of times I've been told I'm a healer, but I've never put into
Mm,
practice. But I was told by a couple of
mm,
different mediums when many years ago I was told it, and then sort of maybe about 5 or 6 years ago I was told it again. But I've never actually put it into practice. Apart from on my wife when she had a bad shoulder once, I was holding it, and she said, "Oh, it feels a lot better now." But but apart from that, but the reason I asked
yeah,
about
you
my hands are always very hot, very warm. That's the reason I asked
Okay.
about are your hands warm? You know.
Well, on the healing front, I mean, one night at Healing Hands, a fellow came along, Stephen Churoff, his name, and he had only just started. Well, I say he'd only been doing a healing a short while, but he was an actual. He would go into spirit. He would go in, yeah, be overtaken by spirit. Let's put it to you that way, and he would perform operations. And anyway, went to Healing Hands, and this man Stephen Churoff came up, and he was telling us about how he got into healing, and he'd done all sorts of things. And then he said, has anybody here got anything that they would like looking at? He said, preferably something you can see or whatever. Well, I had a cyst on the back of my neck at the time. It was quite big. And I was going to go to the doctors and get him to do whatever doctors do with cysts, lance them, I guess. So, being happy Joe, I put my hand up. I went, yeah, I've got this packed hall, by the way. And I said, come up, he said. He then started speaking in a different accent because now his guide takes him over. I think it was kind of German guy or something like that. And anyway, he said, well, let me have a look. He said, lay down there. And they had this table thing, with the hole in it. You put your face through and you can lay there quite comfortable. Not very comfortably, actually. And I looked up. As I was going down, I could see a pair of scissors that looked rusty, a big spike, something looked like a chisel. I'm thinking, bloody hell, what have I let myself in for here? So anyway, the next thing I know, he has picked up the spike, which I suppose was a bit like, imagine the size of a 6-inch nail. So we're not messing about here. And he's shoved it straight into this cyst, you see. Don't worry, it won't hurt. He lied. And
Oh
then I
dear.
could hear the people in the room go, oh, because apparently, and this is rather disgusting, all blood had gone all over his glasses and
Oh,
everywhere.
lovely. Oh.
And he then picked up this pair of looped scissors, shoved them in the hole that he'd made with a spike, and started cutting. And I could hear it crunching through the flesh,
Was it hurting? Were you screaming?
Not really. I've got to be honest, no, not the way it should have hurt. And anyway, when he'd done all of that, he just pressed it with his thumb and he went, there you are, they're all done. So I went back and I thought, oh, no, me, I'm going to have a massive cut on my neck. I went like that. I can't feel anything. The cyst had gone. And I said to, well, can you see? She said, there's nothing there. She said, there's a tiny, tiny little red mark.
Gracious.
It was healed instantly by him. Now, interestingly, we were with two friends that evening, and the wife of the friend, she was a nursing sister, years of experience. And she said to me, what he did is exactly the way that we would do it. She said, but he hasn't got the base of it out. He's got most of it out, but he's missed a bit. But the amazing thing was, nothing, no cut, little tiny red mark. I couldn't believe it. After that, you'd seriously be expecting to find a nasty wound there. He literally healed it by touching it with his thumb and pressing, and that was it. So that's an interesting little story, I think, about heat.
That's absolutely fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty disgusting, but fascinating nonetheless.
I like the fact that he just you allowed him to just sort of do what he without sort of saying, is it going to hurt or anything?
Well, to be honest, things like that didn't bother me so much. You get the crap kicked out of you every Saturday afternoon on a rugby pitch. That's not too bad at all. Having an operation on your neck,
Yeah.
And,
but what I'm saying is, he wasn't a doctor, was he? And you don't know.
No.
That's what I'm saying is, he's a stranger to you, and you didn't know what he was going to do.
Well, I did learn a story about him afterwards. I was speaking to somebody that knew him very well, and when he started healing, he actually meditated for years and years. And in fact, he had a bit of a breakdown himself, which quite often happens to people if they're doing, say, shamanism, that sort of thing. They go through this barrier, they sort of break down, go through the barrier, and then there they are, the complete healer show, whatever. That's the only way I can describe it anyway. And apparently, some friends had come around to his house for dinner, and the woman had an eye problem, serious eye problem, you know. And all of a sudden, and out of the way, he said, "Oh, I'll have a look at it." So he said, "Can you lay down there?" And she's laid down. He's all of a sudden, the German guys come in to him, so he's now not him, he's the German. He's taken her eye out. Yeah, cleaned it up and put it back again. I know that sounds extraordinary, but this is the way the
I
Indians.
have actually heard about having that done, actually, with some people. And
Yeah.
you imagine it's not going to go in straight or something, don't you?
Well, anyway, he pops it in back in there,
Oh.
and he sort of went on from that. He was a very, very well known healer. I don't know if he's still around today.
Hmm.
I do know that later on in his life he was healing using Sai Baba's influence. So I'm sure people will know who Sai
Sai
Baba.
Baba, yeah.
And he's in the end, he's sort of almost just taken over by him, because I did see him again after that for a little problem that I had. And I went to his private place there in Chelmsford, and he was dressing like Sai Baba, and there were pictures of Sai Baba around the place and everything else. But does it matter? If it works, it works. And that's,
Hmm.
I'm pretty down to earth with this sort of thing. And if it works, it works. That's fine by me.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
talking about Sai Baba, do you believe he was actually a real? I mean, was he actually a real healer, or do you think he was a con man?
well, do you know that?
I remember when in my early days of going to Spiritist Church and everything, and we started seeing a lot of stuff about Sai Baba, and some of the stuff I was seeing, it looked a bit, I don't know, suspect or very hard to believe as to what was happening when he was bringing his flowers out and things. And was he a good magician or?
Well, very hard to believe. Miracles can be very hard to believe, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I often feel with people like that they're 50-50. They absolutely have a get. I can tell you a few stories about Sai Baba. For instance, went to the spiritualist headquarters in London, a beautiful area. I can't remember the name of the area. And anyway, went into the spiritual headquarters, had a look round, very friendly people, and discovered that they'd had a cafe in the downstairs of the building. So I thought, oh, go and get a coffee. So I went in there and got a coffee, and sitting on table a little way off was a gentleman who he's an old chap, you know, he must have been 60 odd. I'm saying he's old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, watch it.
Yeah, and he looked like maybe Jamaican
Hmm.
ancestry, that sort of a thing. So I said, oh, you know, he's on his own. Can we join you? Oh, yeah, sit down, sit down. So we're having a chat with him about various things. It turned out that he was a jazz musician, and he played all over the world. And I don't know why. And this is the other crazy thing. I've met a stranger. I don't know him. And all of a sudden I said to him, what do you think about Sai Baba? And what sort of questions that? And he went, Sai Baba? Oh, he went. He started undoing his shirt, and he had quite a heavy vest on. He's sort of tugging at it. And he pulled out this necklace, and on it was a picture of Sai Baba. I said, well, blow me. I said, that's amazing. Are you a devotee of his? No, he said, my friend, this guy's name, let's say he was Max. I can't remember, but I've got a feeling it was Max. No, he said a friend of his said to him, oh, I'm going out to see Sai Baba. And Max, I think, must have knew possibly a little bit about Sai Baba. Oh, he said, I wish I was coming with you. That would be really excellent, you know. So anyway, his friend Max went out to see Sai Baba. And what used to happen at Sai Baba's ashram was thousands of people would gather,
Hmm.
and Sai Baba would walk around and maybe walk up to a person, you. He would be picking people that could go back into his private quarters with him, you see. And he might pick, say, a dozen or whatever, and they would all go back to his. Anyway, they were sitting there and they were asking questions and chat, and, you know, whatever Sai Baba did, Sai Baba did. And then at the end of it, he said to the first one, "Would you like something to take with you as a memento?" And they go, "Oh, I'd like a ring, please." And he go, drop a ring into the
Yeah,
hat.
yeah, I know. I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. And the next one might want something else, and he dropped that in their hand. They weren't all asking for the same things. And then he got to Max's friend, and he said, "What would you like?" And he said, "Oh, I'd like a necklace." He said, "Can I have a picture of you on it as the old Sai Baba?" Yeah, but there you go. And he went to move away, and then he came back and went, "Oh, by the way, hold your hand out again, Bob." He said, "And there's one for Max."
Wow.
Yeah, wow. And he and then he just moved on. And that was how this guy that I was speaking to, Max, got the. So there's several strange things there for a start. What on earth made me ask about Sai Baba? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
obviously, I mean, being a medium, obviously something inside of you, you can,
Well, yeah,
if you look from that point of view, somebody's
yeah,
actually mentioned it to you.
yeah. I think in those days I was pretty tuned in,
Mm.
because I was doing something, as I say, 5, 6 days a week by then. I was so fired up about it. I mean, I used to work by then. I also got a job as an insurance company, and I used to have to work in the evening. But I'd sort of come flying home from whatever office. I had to cover 36 offices, literally about 100 miles an hour down the A12, because no way was I going to miss a circle. No, nothing could stop me from going to that circle, because it was always brilliant.
Either dead, even dead or alive, it would have been, wouldn't it? 100 miles an hour.
Well, let's face it, if you're into that sort of thing, it doesn't matter what state you're in, dead or alive, you can still go. you
That's
can
what I mean.
still go. So anyway, yeah, that's
Mm.
yeah, that's a story about Sai Baba. But you were asking me, did I think he was genuine or fake? I've noticed with a lot of mediums, I say a lot, I sort of silly things. Let's say Doris Stokes, for instance. I've no doubt at all that she was a brilliant medium,
Mm.
but then somebody caught her apparently cheating. I think the problem comes in that suddenly, if you're a big name and you're big and famous, you've got to go and do that performance every night in front of a live audience. Not everybody's going to be on tune every night. You might have just had an accident on the way there, or you might feel ill, or had a row with your husband, or had to shout. So I think sometimes when the pressure's on, they do make things up.
I
Okay.
agree with you actually. Yeah, because I think, like you say, you're not always going to have. Well, we go to like when you go on a ghost hunt or whatever, nothing
Yeah.
happens. But like, most of the time, you sort of get fed up and you think, oh, we might as well go home. And then all of a sudden something will happen and it makes it all very interesting. But I mean, I think the same thing happened with Derek Akora, didn't it? He got kind of he was apparently a very good magician, almost said medium. But he got caught out by someone making something up and giving it and feeding him something. But of course, he was on a TV show which had to produce results, and the company expected it to produce, for the show. Otherwise, they pulled the budget. So I think that's kind of the trap that he ended up in. That he had to make some sort of result and sort of got caught out for it.
I think that's exactly right, because, as you probably know now, um, myself and my friend Anne, we've been on lots of cases over the years. People would call us in to say, "Oh, we've got a problem with the house." And we actually followed up on a couple of Derek Akora's cases. It frightened the people so much. I know you shouldn't speak ill of the dead, but it's true. It frightened them so much by telling them things like, "Oh, your land is cursed, you need to move, there's this, that, and the other," and really frightened people. And it was bullshit,
Hmm.
absolute nonsense, but purely done for TV. The big program. I haven't got any time for any of those TV programs, to be honest. Maybe there's one I did see, I can't remember it, but they actually did seem to genuinely be trying to do stuff, because quite often nothing happens. That I
Hmm.
can believe.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think when the pressure's on these people and they're expected to produce, then it must be very, very difficult to do it all the time, everywhere that you go. Yeah, so I think he lost his way for money. really.
Well, I think it wasn't so much just him. I think it was for the whole show would have been at risk if the company pulled the budget. It's I think that was kind of the pressure he was under. But
Well, the problem with that is I used to help run something called Ghost Hunters Extraordinaire, a title that I'm extremely embarrassed about because I hate the expression ghost hunting.
I thought it was extraordinary bit.
Extraordinaire. That is my French coming out, you know. And anyway, yeah, we used to do ghost hunts, for want of a better word, and that was quite good fun because most of them were in pubs.
Mhm.
So you,
Yeah, lots of
you
spirits.
had to wait for the pub to shut before you could do anything.
Yeah, lots of spirits
You,
there. Yeah,
you can imagine the state of the people that were there by the time the pub shut,
yeah, yeah.
and that was really good fun. Yeah, I did that for a while and sort of came out of that. I didn't see too much fun in ghost hunting. Um, yeah, but later on, just got involved with going around various houses. I mean, I've been to some really good places. Went to the Duke of Northumberland's palace, and under invitation at
Mm.
night, invited to go there. A place called Highlands House at Chelmsford, again under invitation at night. And the nice thing is at places like that, um, you would have historians with you that
Mm.
knew about.
Yeah.
So anything you were picking up and giving, the historians could confirm or say, "We're not too sure about that." So yeah, that was a fantastic place for there, all right. And some places you go, you just can't stop picking stuff up all the time, all the time. And other places, not a lot
Nothing,
at all.
nothing happens. Yeah,
Nothing
they're,
happened, mate.
they're pretty boring. Some of the nights you go on. Like I said, and then something will happen, and you're just thinking about, oh, should we go home? And there's something interesting in that. You think, oh, that was good. This thing about for a little while. See if anything else happens.
Mm.
But so you don't do anything like that at all now, or do you still do cases?
Yeah, if we're asked to go on a case, we'll certainly go. I'm a little bit more selective nowadays because you get to know a lot about people when you're doing this. And I speak to them on the phone first.
Mm.
And it's got to be something of interest, or I'm not going to go. Or so, or they got a real problem. I guess as I get older, I get less tolerant. And I mean, the only time I've ever had speeding fines is coming back from these places at 2 o'clock in the morning, tired and not
Yeah.
looking at what I'm doing. Um, I would guess that Anne and I, over the years, have been on 200 cases, which is quite a considerable amount,
It
but
is, yeah.
that's over 40 odd years, you
I,
know.
I think there's a book there, Dave.
Yeah, I did get halfway through writing one, and then I realised it had to have an end, and I'm still alive, so it's quite difficult because things still happen
No, because
today.
there's always a volume two.
Volume two from Spirit. Yeah, I did start that. As you get older, it's more difficult to remember things.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's more difficult, but you've got so many more things to
yeah,
remember.
things going on. I know.
And who the hell would want to read it anyway? Basically, he said, hopefully, who would want to read it.
No, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
well, I think everybody's got a book, really.
Mm.
Everybody can tell a book about their life. Um, yeah, as I say, maybe next time, if we do a next time.
Yeah, no, we will do another one if you want to. We've only sort of covered like your mediumship, really. I mean, we haven't even touched UFOs or anything. So,
Oh, there's still loads of stories to go on with the mediumship.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. How about we do one a month or so for a little while and see how we go for the club.
Are there wages
Yeah,
involved in?
yeah, yeah. What for me
Are
as
there
well? Yeah,
wages?
for me as well.
Oh, how much do you want? Yeah, I think that'd be good. And I'll tell you for why. I need a wee. I need a cup of tea. I'm going to have a fag.
That's good. That's all right then. Yeah, well, we've got about we've done about an hour, so I think that's enough for people to get on
Right.
with for now.
Yeah.
So anyone who's been listening to this or watching it, I hope you've enjoyed a little bit and having a little
Oh, I've
chat
enjoyed this. It's been good fun.
with David and myself, and hopefully we'll see you at the club.
Yes. Well, before you go, you've got to show hello, Sue.
Hello, Sue.
Hello, Dave.
You gonna stick your head in?
Oh,
Put your face over here.
Oh, God, I don't know about that.
This is my lovely wife, who I love very much.
There she is.
You see her?
Oh, yeah. So I'll be seeing you next week anyway.
All I've got across my face is something that this meeting is being recorded. I can't even see myself on there.
Kind of. But
Yeah.
maybe we'll do a show with Sue one time.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. What do you want? A bit of belly dancing?
Yeah, we could do a bit of belly dancing or whatever. Yeah.
I tell
But
you what, Sue, she's just made me a dinner.
right.
She is a fantastic cook.
Oh,
Yeah, that was good. I've got a good. I'm married to a good cook as well, so we're very lucky, aren't we? Yeah.
Mate, you know, let's face it. A good, what is it? The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. It's pretty true, actually.
Anyway, we better let you go and have your cigarette. And it's been nice talking to you, Dave. And I'll see you next Friday. But
Yes.
so watch out, everyone, for this video coming out. So, because you'll already be watching it already now. So
yeah, I've already seen it. Okay,
anyway,
David, lovely talking to you.
Yeah, we'll do another one for next month. So watch out for volume 2, everybody. All right, thanks for watching. All right, cheers, Dave. Bye bye. Bye bye.
All the best.